Welcome. This is the November 19th episode of the Trading Pit. And after kissing a high of 92,000, Bitcoin's in the consolidation zone. And on today's show, I'm asking what signs are showing that we're going to break up, we're going to break down, or we've got another week or two of ranging. What's the best way to play this action? Cash, Bitcoin, alts, or memes, and predictions for Bitcoin's price by December 31st. I'm your host, Marconi Wine. Today, I'm joined by Amit, the range sniper. Benjamin, the whale hunter, is out in the ocean. We're hoping he'll be back by next week so we can have him back in the studio. We're going to get into all the price action. There's a lot going on. It's an exciting day for a lot of reasons. We've got the we've got the Bitcoin options or ETF options starting today. We've got Michael Saylor saying he's going to buy up a bunch of Bitcoin, and we've got just amazing excitement in the market. So there's a lot we're going to get into. First, we got to ask some questions. We got some rapid fire because I want to know from Amit where he thinks this market's going to go next. And before we do that, I do want you to know today we are simulcasting both to X as well as to YouTube. We had a lot of people and our fans coming back and say, hey, can you bring it back to YouTube? We listened. Here we are. So if you want to join us there, you're welcome to do so. Link in my description, Marconi's description. And you can find the Exchanging Good channel there. Amit, are you ready for some rapid fire?
Let's go.
Let's go. There's some excitement. Love it. Love it. All right. X is swarming with talks of the U.S. adding Bitcoin to its reserve, its Federal Reserve. If that happens, what's your best guess as to what that means for Bitcoin's price after a year?
I mean, if that, yeah, we are already in price discovery mode. So yeah, it's upside only from here. If that goes into the reserves, then yeah, you can see 30-40% running straight up.
Straight up. I saw an OG, Adam. Is Adam Black, I believe. He's a developer. Yeah. He's been here for Bitcoin forever. He said 7 figures. 7 figures is what he's looking for Bitcoin. I thought that was a bit aggressive.
I don't trade that way. So 7 figures. There'll be 6 figures before that. There'll be 5.
Yeah. Well, this is dubious speculation.
Exactly.
This is dubious speculation. Not at all trying to get a real trade here, but.
Yeah, you can't trade with speculation. So yeah, at the moment, speculation is there is a correction on the horizon. So we'll play with that.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to get into that in a minute. But okay, next question here. Options are expected to come to Bitcoin ETF today. I don't have my screen up just yet. I think the market goes live in about 8 minutes. We'll see what the volume comes in at. And our own Ben Lilly noted that when options came to gold, it led to a 30% correction. Will Bitcoin suffer the same fate?
It might.
Okay.
Yeah, it might. Because there is a correction expected, but if it coincides with historically what happened to the gold, that has been seen as a kind of a store of value. Not necessarily the same correction, but yeah, not necessarily 20-30% down, but there is correction that is coming on the horizon. So it might be correlated.
All right, so we may see a correction. I feel like we're going to be answering the question, what 3 signals do we see? And it's all signaling to a correction. We're going to get to that. Last question, though. When retail finally returns, I think the sense is that it really isn't here. We're starting to get emails, texts, smoke signals coming in from people that have been outside the market. So they're just starting to come back. But when they do return, what are they going to buy into first? Memes, utility tokens, or some of these OG L1s?
I think they'll go for memes straight because it's an easier play.
It's the easier play. Are they going to be going to Solana, Ethereum, some of the OG Ethereum, or are they going to just dive directly into Bitcoin memes?
Yeah, if you have to spend $200 to buy up $20 worth of a token, you are not going to go to Ethereum.
Do you think these people know that? You think they're aware?
I mean, there is a rude awakening for everybody when they start transacting with Ethereum. This point of time. So that would be the moment where it'll start looking. I think Solana is the obvious play because the entry point is easier. You look at the price chart, you say Solana is running up nicely. Then you go into Solana. Then from Solana, you start looking into kind of an ecosystem related to Solana. And then that's your entry point.
Okay. All right. Well, last question and bonus question. You talked about a consolidation. You're hinting at that we're going to see something on Bitcoin going all the way down, have some kind of correction. What's your best guess that do we get to 100K by December 31? Dubious speculation.
For sure. That is for sure.
That is baked in.
See, 100K is just 10% away. So it's not far off.
Oh, take that to your grandma. All right. I love that. Love that. Okay. Let's actually get in the price action. For all those who are listening out there, if you've got questions, put them in the comments. You can join us on YouTube. You can join us here on X. Either one of those is fine. But I want to get in now to Amit, specifically into Bitcoin. I want you to break down the chart. What are the signals you're seeing that we're looking for a correction? Because you seem to suggest that that's on its way. And when I was looking at some of the data this morning, just in the last week, some interesting sort of price figures. Bitcoin looks like it's kind of ranging a little bit. It's kind of having lower highs on the daily, but it doesn't seem to be able to crack this 93K. Ethereum is basically down, and Solana is up 17%. I know we're going to get into those, but it's kind of an interesting price action to see that some of these other L1s kind of one taking off, the other one falling flat. But what's the story here for Bitcoin? What signals are you seeing that we're going to hit a consolidation mode?
So starting with the price action, right? You can see there are a lot of profit taking happening right at the top. That is very much expected. So these are all profit taking as such. So you see every time a price goes up, there are walls coming on the order book side, one after another. So you knock down one wall, another wall comes in after $500. Then you knock down another 92K. Then there is 92,500. So this is all profit taking. But if you look on the broader horizon, right, there is a massive wall sitting at 95K. That's around that's quite a lot of amount sitting in there, and that is across all the exchanges. So that is basically telling me in a way the price is not going to go to 100K just yet. So there is a lot of consolidation, because reason being is because when the price broke up, it moved in the straight line up. So from this point onwards, right, if you look from where it was from 66, let's consider the range high 72, it went 27 to 30% up without any retrace. So that means is basically people specifically will mention the whale hunter here. All the whales were not present at this point of time. So it cannot run another 30% up here. So it needs a bit of a consolidation, even if it does 15% drop from here, right, from the top. So this is where I'm looking at 80K is the point where it's a healthy correction if it comes in. So that is a previous week low. That is a Monday low from last week. So it's not far off. So the signs from the correction perspective is you see all these wicks going up and getting sold off straight away. So it's struggling. The range is getting shorter right at the top on the Monday range. This is a 12-hour chart, but still, if you look at it, right, so the ranges are very, very tiny, 4% range. That's the general range that you play. This generally on a week basis, when you do a week on week basis, this is between Monday low and Monday high. That should be 4%. So now it's consolidating, as in basically the top part is becoming smaller and smaller. So what that means is you will have a rounded bottom at some point. From this point onwards, you'll see something like this coming, and then it falls off the cliff.
So I just want to clarify some of the points that you're looking at that suggest that a consolidation is coming in. You're saying when you look at the order book, you continue to see walls coming in above here. You're seeing that as we hit into this price area that we're kind of hitting right now, kind of that 92 range, you're seeing the wicks go through and they're just being sold off. So you're seeing a lot of profit taking.
Yep.
Okay, so that's kind of two. Is there anything else that you're looking at? I mean, from a volume perspective, is it just sort of because we've already hit price discovery mode, and now you're expecting some kind of retrace to just be able to create a new bottom?
Yeah. So I think this is the similar sort of price action that we had between 40 to 65. And I think this is the similar price action that will go between 70 to 95. And this is the things we touched upon in previous episodes. When it goes into price discovery, that specifically around 90K to 100K, the ranges will broaden. So the range, I will try to operate in, this is the range I am trying to operate in, basically 80 to 95. So now you got a $1,500 or 15K range that you have to play in. So that's what I'm looking at the moment. So if this is in the upper half, if it breaks down from 50K, I mean, if it comes to 86K, it's a decent chance for a small bounce back. But if it comes below 86K, it's going back to 80K, and then it runs back up again. So that's the play between. I don't think it's going to go down all the way back to all-time high. It might test it, because if reason I say this is, we were looking at some of the fractals. So if you go on a 3-day chart, right, on a 3-day chart, this has happened in the past. So this was the previous range where it broke off, and then at some point it retested this range here. So this range got retested on a 3-day level. So that's the range that got retested. So, and now this is the range we've tracked for a period of time where it broke off. Now when it is breaking off that range, so I'm expecting to basically at some point come back and go for this range and retest it. But that will be, yeah, this is the top of the range that I think it'll retest.
I think we're hearing an alarm go off in the background. Maybe someone else is looking at the chart, getting a little nervous. So what gives you the confidence to say we're definitely going to hit 100K by December 31? I mean, from a technical perspective, it feels like we're starting to move quicker, obviously, than we had when we had 6 months of consolidation, just constantly up, constantly down, Bitcoin down 26% over that period. Is it just the pace at which we're moving? We have changes in the season that we typically look at. Q4 is usually a big time, especially in a year in which we have the halving. What's suggesting that's going to happen?
I mean, it's the regulatory environment around BTC. I mean, the administration is very friendly to the environment, to the ecosystem to start with. So that itself caused kind of a 30% upsurge. So that will play a part. And then now the consolidation has happened for a very long period of time. So it's almost 6 months of consolidation, as you said. So you will see the upside from that perspective. So this consolidation was to run up. Now we are seeing the run up. All the stars are aligned. So yeah, it should run.
So Amit, when you take these trades, you're usually layering down, right? You're trying to figure out how do I layer down so that I'm getting, better price entries, better invalidation zones, higher probability of success for my trades. Are you looking at trading Bitcoin? Are you looking for it to break down first to really test that bottom so you have a better invalidation? How are you thinking about this week?
So these are the 3 candles that we traded very heavily. And now looking at the size and shape of the candles, right, that is telling you this is where people started thinking it's going to go to 120K and 50K. They started to come in. Now there is a realization setting in. It's not going anywhere. So the way I'm looking at is on a smaller time frames. Now, generally I trade on 12-hour time frame, but that is not useful here because there is no retrace, there is no structure to the chart. So I go on a smaller time frames. And now if you have to trade BTC, you have to be on the desk. You cannot layer it and just see it will run. So the ranges that I'm playing in is basically, again, 4 to 6% range. So this is the range I'm playing in. So rather than for 2% ranges, I'm playing in 6% range. So if it goes down, it's again exponential here. So most of the risk sits below 88K, and this gives you small entries at the top of it. But if the price starts to come down really aggressive like these candles, right, and then there is no kind of a V kind of a recovery, I can cut my trade here because I know there is nothing holding up between this and this. There is fair price gap everywhere at this point of time. And if it drops from here, I know it's going to go to say 80K. From 80K, if it drops, it's going to go to 74K. And that's a massive, you don't want to have that kind of 20%, 25% drawdowns on your trades at this point of time. So I'm playing in a smaller range, 6% range I'm playing in. So that's my range that I'm playing in. So 50% of the balance going into 6% range. And then that is also exponential. What that means, exponential, when I say at JLabs, we have this algorithm, right? What it does is basically based on the risk that you are seeing in the market, you can layer down your orders. So even though you want to have a leg in the game, so it will give small orders right at the top. But based on the range you're selecting, what it does, it drops your orders right at the bottom of the range. So if it goes massively here, so you'll have basically 1 or 2% risk. If it breaks down, you can cut the trade here. So you'll have on 50% balance, you will have 1% loss.
And
then, but if it runs up, then you have a good trade back up.
Yeah. Well, definitely some intelligent risk taking and risk management. I want to come back to this idea of these narratives playing into this. So I know that from your trading perspective, it's really just the charts. You're not looking at any of these narratives, but it seems to me that we've got this very interesting discussion happening, right? I talked about some of the events that are happening. We've got the ETFs that are going to start trading options today. We've got the Bitcoin reserve, which is getting a lot of attention, still very much an unknown. You've got Donald Trump looking at filling out his cabinet picks, and there's a lot of discussion about a pro treasury, someone in treasury that'd be pro Bitcoin. How that, how impactful that actually is to Bitcoin is less clear when you look at who's actually going to be running the SEC. But everything seems to be very pro moving in this direction. Does and from my memory, being around here since 2017, there's always been a lot of discussion about what will happen eventually. And frankly, a lot of what's being discussed right now feels like those things, like the stuff that we've been talking about for 5, 6, 7 years is actually starting to happen.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, does that give you a pause at all when you're looking at some of these price charts to say, okay, I'm going to have to rethink some of this, or is everything going to continue to bake into that price signal?
So I think whatever happens, right, it gets reflected on the price. So there is no point. I see the way I trade is I don't want to capture absolute top and absolute bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can leave 2% at the bottom and 2% at the top and still capture 26% of the move, I'm happy with it. So that's how I've been running. So everything gets reflected. But having said that, right, the most important thing I'm looking at is at this point of time, who gets appointed as SEC head. So that is one of the critical events that will come in, because that is historically, right, from the last 3-4 years, the whole market has been beaten down because of one person, on not just one person or the political mandate they had. And that's one only political position that I'm interested in, who fills it. And that will have an impact on the market. Or whenever that person leaves the market, specifically Gary, whenever he leaves the post, that will be an event in the market, and who replaces him. So that's one of the events that will that will be reflected, and it will be good to know if that is causing the price action to do whatever it is doing. Because if Gary leaves on a certain specific date, there is a lot of speculation going on, that will have an impact. And if that is happening, because I don't want to trade that event, I want to take profit on that event. So if it is leading up to that event, I want to know a week before, so I can start laddering down, filling up my positions. And then when that event happens, I don't want to be trading, I will be booking the profit.
Some good thinking about what's going to happen with these appointments. Trades you can make based on vacancies and people being filled in various parts of a new cabinet.
It's crazy times, because as I said a couple of weeks back, we traded state by state results, knowing what that would mean, and it got reflected on the price action.
Sure.
To be honest, I mean, so this is that kind of times where political appointments are making an impact on the price action. So it'll be really interesting who replaces Gary.
It's interesting to see so much discussion happening about the Treasury Secretary, which obviously is a very important post when you've got $36 trillion in debt. Or 32, maybe I'm off. You can check my math. But to your point, from a pure crypto perspective, the SEC seems to be the key link. So we'll have to see who ends up getting in there and what they're able to do from a regulatory perspective. And that actually, I think, is a good way to segue into discussing some of these other tokens, because if I think about what this mean, I think obviously it could be beneficial for Bitcoin, being able to clear up what happened with Choke Point 2.0, adding additional liquidity and services for banking for Bitcoin, but really the rest of the market, all of T3, all of the other projects that have been starved of oxygen can finally start to breathe a little bit. And for those who are curious on a take on Choke Point 2.0, we have a video that my own thoughts on that we put out on YouTube. You should definitely go check that out. But I want to ask a little bit about some of these other tokens. You just put out a play for Bitcoin. What are you looking at? I'm not sure if you want to talk with Ethereum, if you want to talk Solana, or you want to talk about something else. You usually have the three majors.
So I just want to touch base on the point you're saying, when the appointment on the SEC side, how it will make a difference in the market. And if you look at XRP, the trouble child of the entire ecosystem, see what happened last week.
Your favorite buy and hold?
Yeah.
How long have you held this?
4 years.
4 years. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, that's all. I was sharing with the team. Basically, this is my entry.
Wow.
This was my first trade in crypto 4 years back. So,
okay.
Yeah,
you've clearly learned a little bit. Now you're trading everything on Ethereum. Good to know.
So, going back from that, right? This is basically, again, we saw this happening before as well. See, this is the trade that happened. A 30% breakup on XRP. It's not a small deal. And XRP moving 30% in a day was a big deal. And it's continued to grow. This is a bit of consolidation, but this is telling you what would happen in the market when SEC appointment of who is basically pro crypto comes into place. Now, the way I'm looking at this, you have all the things in place. Basically, all the lawmakers and including president, everybody is they are not against crypto. I'm not saying they're very favorable to crypto because we haven't seen any policies come out yet, but they are making the right noises. Now, the epitome of this is who comes to regulate the market.
Sure.
So that's where the difference will come in. And if Gary goes and somebody related who is making I have a few names on my head, but don't want to put it out there. They come out and then they say, yeah, we are very pro to crypto and these are the policy decisions we are making. That's where you will see the difference in the market. And if it is pro policies towards crypto, yeah, you will have another 30% run up and there'll be no relenting after that. So this is a good point to fill up the beer bags.
Right. So I want to clarify that point. You're saying for sort of the T3, for all the other tokens that are sitting, and granted, we're not selecting specific coins or even really talking about XRP as much as just saying, listen, if there's quality altcoins, quality projects, you're saying those will get a massive boost depending on what comes out.
Yes.
Okay. Feels like we need more discussion on some of these tokens. Would you? Okay, so here's the next question. Then you've held on to this for 4 years. Are you holding on to XRP through this bull cycle, at least until you get confirmation on the policy changes?
Yeah, of course. There is no point holding it for one full cycle and then selling it in break even. So if I can sit on the trade, that also tells me, right? I mean, if you are good at risk management, you can sit on a trade forever. It will never liquidate you.
Well, yeah, the holding costs are next to nothing. It's just a little bit of despair and having to lie to your wife at night, but put that aside.
Yeah, she doesn't know about this.
See, this is the one trade. So I'm going to have to get her on the show to really do a little bit of expertise on managing relationships during a 4-year cycle.
I mean, to be honest, right? She has seen me evolve from taking this trade, going into despair for 6 months, losing all the accounts, and then bouncing back and start building the trades, and then going from zero to where I am at the moment.
Yeah.
Now I'm saying I'm very solid trader, but yeah, my risk management is really good now.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's everything. That's everything. Okay. So, just to recap on what you're saying here is that, right now we're getting a lot of general sentiment, a vibe, if you will, that what we're expecting from the SEC is going to be very positive. We haven't seen that yet. We don't actually know what that's going to be. We don't actually even, as far as I know, I don't even know who's going to be proposed for the SEC. But even after they are, there's going to be a lot of questions on the specifics of the policies. Ben Lilly's talked a lot about the idea of just having disclosures being a massive move in the right direction. Even if you're treating some of these as equities, as securities, and they could have some kind of way in which they could do disclosures, it would really give them a path to be able to operate.
Exactly.
If it's that, or if it's something else, at least we have clarity, and then they can operate around that.
Yeah. That's where the pause is in the market, to see who comes in, because anybody who fills in that role, they will come with a baggage, as in what they have talked about in the past, what their policy has been, because that will be the impetus going into the price action. So if they have spoken about saying, and there is an expectation, right? So whoever comes in at this point of time will have they will be leaning towards crypto. All what we need to see is how they view these L2 and L3s. If they see as kind of a predatory and you cannot it's more of the same, then we have a problem. But if somebody comes along and says, yeah, we are going to, even if they say we are going to review what has been done in the past, that itself is good enough, because that means somebody is looking with a fresh pair of eyes.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see really what happens. I mean, the appointments, not only are they being discussed now, but then they have to go through a confirmation hearing. And so we're still months away.
Confirmation, we know now, it's because Congress is controlled, Senate is controlled. So confirmation, it's more or less done.
Yeah.
Whoever gets picked.
Well, I think definitely for all those listening, if you got questions about tokens, I'd be interested. We'll have to see. Maybe we'll do another pitch pit discussion, see if we can bring up some of those. Because I think a lot of people are looking at, you talk about trading sort of these ranges. Some people have buy and hold. A lot of people have bags, right? And so they're probably sitting at bags that look a lot like your XRP bag, and wondering when to maybe it's a good time to offload them. Okay, so that's the XRP. That's the play from an SEC perspective. More to come there as we continue to sort of get a better sense of who's coming in, as well as maybe start to look at some of these other tokens that have been beat down that may get a good narrative and a win. So Amit, what about some of these other tokens we talk about each week? We've got Ethereum, we've got Solana, we've talked about Aave in the past, we've talked about some meme coins. Are there other trades that you're looking at from a range perspective?
So Ethereum is funny, and the way it's behaving.
I'm laughing.
From 3,400, right? You don't want it to go back all the way down to 2,800, and that's what it seems like it's going to do. It's gone back to previous week low of 3,000 and should not go sub 3,000. That would be so bad for the entire ecosystem. And 3,400 was my target. That got hit. I'm happy about that. But now it should not go back into this range. So basically it's right at the edge. If it goes below this, then it's job done for it. Ethereum. It's going to go drop back into the range and then, just slowly grind back up. So that's one of the things with Ethereum, right? It's so fast to drop down and so difficult to grow back up. Just the narrative is not there. So Ethereum is off the menu for the time being.
So you're really waiting for Ethereum to get a little bit more of that, I guess the price structure to really show that it's got some confidence and that buyers are really coming in. I did look yesterday. We saw some outflows on the ETFs. So from an institutional perspective, really nothing very positive there to speak of. I think, there's a lot of narrative being spun right now. You have everyone who's been hating on Ethereum for a long time. And then you've got people that are saying, hey, this is the most hated trade in crypto. This is a great thing to own right now because it's going to go up. But I think even Ben Lilly's just acknowledged like the fee structure right now with the blobs and the implementations making it possible to, or less valuable to use. It's more expensive to use than it should be. And from a price structure perspective, we're really not seeing the buyers come in that've got the confidence to say they want to buy and hold this for a period.
Yeah. Okay. It's a good play through the bull cycle, but there is no immediate relief you will get. It's not like you will get 20-30% in a day, the way Bitcoin was moving. So if you want to trade Ethereum, right, the way I would do is basically this whole range from 3,000 to 2,800. So from this point onwards to quarterly open, or 2,600.
Quarterly open. Gosh, that's crushing.
Yeah, that is correct. Because see, the way it has been moving, right? It can easily, if you look from the price pattern perspective, if we pick that up and put it here, where do you end up? So it's not far-fetched. It can basically do that in 2-3 days time. So this is what? In 3-4 days time it has done. 12th of November, it's a week. Within a week, it has gone back to that level. So there is no reason it cannot go do that again. But this is the level I would basically, definitely if it comes here, I'm going to take this on the spot and leave it for the rest of like XRP trade and see what happens at the end.
Well, let's not curse it before it even gets started. Okay.
That's how I would trade Ethereum at the moment. So it's a broad range because it can easily do that 10-15%. So ladder it down in 15% range where your bulk of your basically sitting here. So your bulk of the risk should be in this range. So you get a good entry because it will bounce from this.
Yeah. Okay.
just to get that skin in the game, you can just ladder it all the way down because there is no point shorting this.
Now, why do you say that? Why do you say there's no point in shorting it?
Yeah, because it's very erratic the way it's been behaving compared to Bitcoin, right? So it might turn up and start to run up straight away. There is no reason, there is no narrative for all this run. It ran all this up because Bitcoin was running. It's not because there is a lot of usage that has come in because Bitcoin was running. And tomorrow, if Bitcoin starts to run, it can just basically tag along. So I won't short this.
You mean it's not going to flip? It's just going to ride in Bitcoin's pocket. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there we have it. Stay away from trying to trade Ethereum this week. If you're looking for that trade, maybe wait for it to break down or get some more confidence at the existing price level. I want you to expand real quick on, you made a point. You said it'd be very bad if Ethereum broke down for the marketplace. It'd be very bad if it broke down further, went below 3,000. What's your thinking there?
I mean, then it is showing there is no
just a pure narrative kind of play. You're thinking
already there is no narrative behind Ethereum, and it's expensive. So what that would mean is there is no confidence in the entire ecosystem, and people are looking for something else. So what that would mean is it's the entire ecosystem that will collapse with it. So there are loads of L2s that are built on top of Ethereum. There are loads of projects that has been built. So what happens to them?
Yeah.
So that causes a lot of problem.
Okay, well, let's not go there. No, I mean, we'll have to see. Projects have obviously rebounded from drawdowns. I know Ethereum, and we haven't covered it here. I mean, there's a lot of work being done to try and figure out what the next stage is for it. And you do need to move past some of the narratives that you're going to get on social media, at least in my view, because people can amplify a lot of ideas that aren't really mapped to reality on either side. So, but to your point, I mean, it's being baked into the price chart. The fact that it's coming down is certainly not good for it. All right, well, let's move on to Solana, because Solana really had some amazing price action over the last. I mean, last time we were talking, you said, "Listen, I'm not trading until it goes above 220." Well, here we are.
Yeah. So first target was 185. We cleared that. Then it was 225. This was the range I was basically thinking, because it was hitting on this range and trying to getting knocked down, and now it's hitting at 260, 250. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going range to range. So basically, this is my range now. I'm not considering the Monday range is here. I'm considering from the top to this range where it broke out. So this is the range I'm playing in. So
sorry, when you say the range you're playing in, are you trying to ladder down all the way down to about 220?
Yep, 8% range, 220, 225. So that's a 8% range. And that's not big for Solana, because it's known to do 10 to 15% in a day. So this is the range play. So if it comes down, because you can clearly see it broke out this range on a very high volume. So that's what you want to see. That means there is a lot of confidence, and it's been holding really well compared to Bitcoin. So there's a lot of, ecosystem is there. There are a lot of projects that are going on, and it's cheap to operate. So that basically tells you, this is going to run further. And again, 260 is the all-time high. So it hasn't reached all-time high yet. So 260 is the point where we'll see it goes into price discovery, and then it will be funny.
So you talked about it really. I mean, you're looking for Bitcoin to kind of break out. Once that does, let's say we have a consolidation, we have a breakdown from where we are, goes down to 86, tests that, and then comes back up, goes all the way up to 100K in the next, by December 31. What are you looking for Solana? It almost feels like it's riding tandem, maybe just with a little bit more firepower.
Yeah. So it's last week, that's what we saw. When BTC was down by 4%, Solana was down by 1%. So that is showing the strength of the ecosystem now. So
at least the conviction of the people holding the tokens and buying up all the meme coins.
So that's what I think. It won't go down 20, 30% like it used to before compared to Bitcoin. So initially, when Bitcoin was down by 4%, Solana was down by 6%. So it was 1:3 ratio. So that's what we have seen in the past, but not anymore. So even if BTC does 4 to 5%, it sits at 2% of drawdowns. So that gives me confidence, like this is the range to play up to 225. And then if that breaks down, then you're looking at 200. So I think 200 is the new 160.
Okay.
So like 120 was impossible to break for a very long period of time. It went from 120 to 130, 140, 150, 160, again back to 120 and bounce back up. So this is 200 is the new range. So it won't break down. Even if it comes down, yeah, it's not going beyond 200. So it's a safe play.
What is your perspective on the, I guess, there's a lot of discussion that happens on the fundamental side, just in token supply. Ben Lilly will talk about the fact that there's a lot of subsidizing going to all of the validators through the emission process, and just the fact that there's going to be unlocks happening in 2025. Does that play into, like, for example, as we start to move into 2025, and let's say, Solana is really running hot, but we know that a lot of that token supply is going to start being unlocked going into Q1, maybe Q2 of 2025. Does that play into how you think about the trade?
Yeah, when we get there in 2025 Q1, it's quite far away at the moment. So because I go on 2 to 3 weeks basis, I don't see beyond that. Once we start hitting Jan, then it will be a question of initial first few unlocks that come in and how does it play out. And if it is just a dump, then you stay away from it.
Yeah. Well, and I know, talking to Ben, there's also that question of do the tokens move? It's one thing to have the unlocks and have additional supply, but the velocity, the fact that whether or not they're being released and dumped into the market or held is really going to impact that price.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I think for a lot of people that are asking that question, because certainly there's been a lot of people saying, hey, stay away from Solana. It's got problems because of the unlocks happening. But there is this area where that doesn't necessarily materialize in price changes right in the moment, right? So you got to be aware of that.
Yeah, so you have to trade the charts rather than the news. I mean, most of the times you have this information at the back of your head. Yeah, there are unlocks coming, but it's only still 3-4 months away. So there is no point discussing that now. Reason being is when it comes, you'll see it on the chart, and and the CT will be abuzz with that. Okay, this unlock happening. Then there will be multiple screeners and dashboards available. What unlocks are coming, where they are coming. So we'll see when that comes.
Sure. Okay. So we've got a play for BTC. We've got a play for Solana. Ethereum is off the table until it shows a little sign of strength or breaks down into a better price zone. You have anything else you're trading this week?
I mean, then anything and everything, anything that moves.
Oh, okay.
Dodge has been basically Dodge. I like Dodge now because it's been working it has a very specific set of play, and that it's 25% ranges it goes in. So
do we have the right chart up? Just double checking that.
Yep, that's a Dodge.
There we go.
So this was the 25% play I was in before. So coming back from basically this was the top. It made a cycle high. Then we were expecting it will basically come back at some point and test it. And that's how it has played out so far. So it has retested and gone back up. So this is my entry point. This is the play I'm in at the moment. So this is from the current price. It's not far off. But yeah, another 15%. So because it has made the cycle high, and this is, I think, 57 to 60 cents is the next target. If you look on, so 60 or 55 is where I would go from here. And that, if you think, is quite good percentage gains.
Okay.
So from here, basically, if you look at it, it's another 40% from here.
Right.
So
I would expect, and I haven't actually studied the chart, but I would expect that we're going to see a pretty steep pullback on Doge if Bitcoin goes from where it is today, trading at just under 92 to 86 or even 80K.
Yeah, we can add it on 30% range. Previous week low.
Okay.
And then have most of your risk sitting here underneath this and this point, because there is that's a fair value gap as well. So you can have your risk sitting here, because if it dumps and it's a V recovery, you have a solid trade on your hand, because then it's going to run hot.
Love to see it run hot. This is the time.
Exactly.
All right.
From the price chart perspective, right, there's a lot of strength on Dodge. I mean, every day it's moving 4-5% up and down. So there is, I mean, if you have to have a small account and you want to grow, Dodge is a good place to play at the moment, as long as you are playing it in the ranges, not just one trade that has everything in it.
Okay. Well, we've got the sage advice of Amit, not that it's financial advice, but how to think about the trade. So how many trades are you running when we start to have this kind of market cycle? Because I know you've talked about either offline or even on the show, you can only manage so much, and people get, especially now when the activity starts to ramp up, they can get, I would say, oversubscribed, where they're just trying to manage too many. Is like,
Yeah.
if you're doing BTC, Sol, and Doge, is that it? Or is
That's more than
3
enough.
trades?
That's more than enough.
Yeah.
Because again, point being is you are not taking one trade and considering it will go to all-time high. You're not taking one trade on BTC at 70 and thinking it will go to 100K. You're constantly trading that. So that's how you can trade this. Basically, once the confirmation is in, like 2% you leave the confirmation in, and then from that point onwards, you continuously trade. You ladder in 2%, 3%, take profit at 2% again ladder in, take a profit at 2% again, and you ride all the way up. And then you can do that only for either you need to have the automation in place, like JAI, or you need to basically manually trade it. Manually trading is very, very difficult because you have to calculate the percentages, then you have to calculate the ranges. With JAI, I think that's what I have seen.
Yeah.
So it calculates the ranges, risks, basically ladders down, ladders out, keeps changing the ranges in and out. It becomes so much easier. So the automation, you need to have automation if you're doing it. Manually trading is difficult.
Yeah. Well, it's good. That's one of the reasons we're always going on about JAI. If you listen to all this, it's one thing to understand all this and be knowledgeable and be excited that and feel confident that you understand it. It's quite a bit. It's quite different to actually be able to execute against it, and which is one of the reasons JAI is such a great tool to really make the most out of the markets.
Yeah, because when the market is moving at the pace, right? How many times you're going to sit in front of the desk and basically take profit constantly and keep adding, keep layering down, keep changing exponential and all that. And JI does all that for you. So yeah.
If you've got, so, a plug here right now, if you're interested in getting Jay to trade for you, either on chain or using Bybit, definitely reach out. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Amit, to Benjamin, and ask what it takes to get that started. That can be a great way to be able to grow the account in a safe way, in the sense that you're just really managing risk about as best as you can, kind of leading class risk management, which is the best thing to do. All right. Well, we've gone through 4 separate trades here, Amit. Is there anything else on your radar that you want to share before we wrap up?
No, not really. I mean, this is it. I mean, this is more than enough for anybody who's doing it manually.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Well, a little bit of a shorter week or a shorter show today, but I think it's short and sweet. You get in to look exactly where these targets are, where you can ladder down, place a couple of really good trades, and hopefully take some profits home so you can keep that relationship with your significant other. Amit, we'll bring you back. We'll bring back the whale hunter. Hopefully next week he can come back in from the ocean where he's out. I'm sure he's just out there on his barge, just enjoying the sea winds and relaxing, right?
He's still hunting for whales. Where are they?
That's right. The dormant whales. The dormant whales. All right. Well, I will say to all you out there, I hope you enjoyed the show. Definitely subscribe to the Exchanging Good channel. You can either here on X or on YouTube. We're simulcasting to both, wherever it's easiest for you. And if you got questions, leave it in the comments. Obviously, one of the reasons we do this live show is that everyone can kind of join in, ask questions. We'll see what we can do to answer them. We usually have some pretty good insight from people. And I'll leave you with my PSA. We don't know what's coming ahead of us. This could be a great time to have some dry powder, so make sure you got some on hand ready to take advantage of those opportunities when they hit. With that, this is Marconi White signing off.